Hey, Bladrins, welcome back to a new Lightning Quick Repairs episode. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy A51. As you can see, there is a cracked screen on it and we're going to be replacing it. So I've got myself a second hand, but it's still very good condition. I'm trying to get in focus. A51 display, it's used, but there's no cracks, there's no burning, there's no dead pixels or anything like that, as the seller has mentioned. If there is any, I'll lose my mind. So yeah, and as you can see from the marks and stuff like that, it's been taken off a working actual handset, so that's perfect. And as you can also see, there's a vibration motor. The connector looks to be intact as well. There's a few of the little bits and pieces that comes on the display. Let's get this thing started and repaired. So I've backed up all the data off of this just in case any data loss happens, which I 100% doubt, but I wanted the data backed up anyways. That's the first thing I do when I repair anything, back up the data first, because you never know what could happen, and I don't want to sit and look like the most professional repairman out there, because mistakes do happen. And this screen does fully work. All the touch and everything still works fine, so I can keep this as a spare display to test, because this is actually a really nice phone. And I do like this phone, and I want to fix a few more of these. As I've stated before, I've taken this apart, so I could just literally take off the back panel. But what you ideally want to do is you want to get a heat gun and you want to heat up the back, but you don't want to heat it up too much, as yeah, this thing right here, all of this can actually melt or it can deform, and you don't want to be doing that to your phone, right? And this is actually a really good nice back panel. So once you have taken the back off, you want to get something like this. You don't want to be using these things because it doesn't create a good enough gap, but you do want to be using these little suction cups. So if I just open this, god, I'm having difficulty. If I just spill all of that out, there we are. These things will come useful, because what you want to do is you want to put that on the back there. You want to put your finger on there, and then as you can see, obviously it's bending now, but if I want to put that on there, it starts creating like a little gap just like that, and you want to put your tool in there and start working it around. But you don't want to work it around too much. As you can see, there's cameras right here and there's a flex cable. And the last thing you want to do, and this applies to any phone, you don't want to put your tool in too much, because you might slice connectors, you might break connectors, little chips. So you just want to put it all on the edge and just run it along. You can even use your little finger there, just put that there, rest your thing, and then just go like that, and it opens up nicely. The Samsung uses really nice Phillips screwdrivers, and all of them are the same. I just got to plug in my phone real quick. Yeah, so start taking all these screws out, and even though all these screws are exactly the same, the last thing you want to do is mix them up just in case they're different, because I've seen screws, not by Samsung but in general, I've seen screws where they're all the same size but the threading is different. So you know the swirly bit, how it actually screws the thread, right? Some of them may be actually bigger, some of them may be smaller, so you want to make sure, even though they're all the same, you want to keep them separate. For example, there's quite a few screws on here. You want to keep these back screws separate, you want to keep the motherboard screws separate, and it teaches you to kind of be organized. Now where's my tweezers? Now some screws just may be stuck in there, so you might want to use a tweezer and pull them out. Alright, cool. So after you have taken out all your screws, now you actually want to take out your SIM card tray. Make sure your phone has been switched off and everything, because in the next bit we're going to be taking out the battery and all that. But take out the SIM tray as well, don't forget that. I should have done that at the start, but we haven't taken off the housing yet, so it doesn't really matter. If there are any SIM cards, make sure you keep them safe. Now you want to use a tool like this one, piss off, and I've found my point of contact to be right here, but you want to be very gentle, as you don't want to snap the housing. But it literally provides you a little entry because it is flexible, because there's nothing there. So now if you just move down slowly, you can start prying off the back, but just be very gentle. As you can see, you can slip. There you are. Don't put your tool in too much. Once again, you don't want to snap it. You'll slowly start taking off the housing. There you are. There you are, you can hear it snap. Now these corners are a bit tricky. Come on. There we go. That's it. Yeah. So I just needed a bit more prying. If you're not confident enough to use these metal tools, you can use these pry tools right here. But I'm pretty sure I'm confident with these things. There we are. So as you can see, that's starting to open up now. Don't flex it too much. There we go. Okay. So just be very, very careful with that kind of stuff. Now I've got to pry that side as well. It should come off a lot easier now. Yeah, that's come off like a piece of cake. But don't start yanking on it. There we go. Just work it gently. So now that that is off, just slowly take it off. And there is no connectors on the back. If there, whatever phone you're using, whatever phone you're fixing, make sure you always look at the back housing or the battery cover, because you want to make sure there's no, like this, something. Oh, this is still there. There's phones that have fingerprint sensors on the back, and you want to make sure you don't rip that cable off. Even though Samsung phones have it replaceable, why would you want to waste your extra money and cause more issues? So now here's where we introduce these little things, or any plastic spudger tool, and now that's the battery right there. That's the battery connector right there where my fingernail is, and just slowly unplug that. There you are. You can flex that to the side, not too much, just to get out of the way. And now you've got to start disconnecting all these kind of flex cables right here. Make sure you always disconnect the battery first. If you don't disconnect the battery, you will short out whatever you're disconnecting or reconnecting, and then you're going to end up with a busted phone. And so now just start disconnecting that. Come on, mate. There we are. Be very gentle with these flex cables. There you are. Keep it off to the side. There's one here, so get yourself tweezers and just very gently pry that off. That comes off with little to no problems. There we are. So that's all disconnected. Disconnect these upper cameras as well. Oops, that just flew straight off. That's fine. Keep that off to the side. There's no other connectors on the main motherboard. There's one screw right there. And this is what I'm saying about keeping the screws separate. There's a black screw right here, and this one looks to be short. And there you are. The motherboard started wobbling. Keep that off to the side, and now we can take out the motherboard. Here we go. There we are. That's our motherboard. So just keep that safe over there. Now, as you can see, it's looking almost empty. There you go. Now you want to start focusing on the actual bottom bit right here. Alright, brethren, so now that you've finally taken off your motherboard, now you can actually start taking off the dock connector. So as you can see, there's a few things we need to take off. We need to take off the display connector right here. We need to take off the fingerprint sensor, and I don't think we need to take off anything else. So now let's first start taking off the fingerprint sensor. As you can see, there we are. There we are. So I'm gonna keep these screws separate right here. And let's take off this one as well. There we are. Come on, mate. There we are. And now, if I just use one of these, I could just disconnect that. There you are. And be very, very, very careful with these, because I'm not entirely sure if you can replace these or not. So just be very careful with them. So if I just carefully move that away, that's fine. Oh, it's just got some adhesive on it, so you just got to be very careful. There you are. and I thought the headphone jack was replaceable, but I guess not. There you are. So it's just got some adhesive on it. So there we are. I'm gonna take off the adhesive as well in a sec, but keep that off to the side. And now I think we are done, other than the fact that we gotta take out this battery. So we might need to heat up this battery. I think I've taken it out before once. Yes, I have, because I've put, yeah, there we are. Ideally you have to heat up the thing, and yeah, you can see like I've put a few marks in it from before that I've taken it apart, but that doesn't cause any issues at all. It's just the actual tape layer thing that is kind of deformed a bit, so that's fine. And as you can see, there is nothing else on this display that we need to take apart. I'm trying to get it all in frame. There you are. Everything's fully disassembled, and that's the bare display on its own. So I'm just going to quickly zoom out and adjust my camera just so I can get everything in shot, and we can move on to putting everything back together. If you are getting a replacement panel, you want to take off the Kristaal vibration motor and put it in there. It only goes in one way. As you can see, it's cut out to fit perfectly and sit in perfectly how it exactly is right now. But you don't have to do that. But also, I just realized one thing: we got to take out this thing right here, but that's really easy. Just comes straight off, that's fine. Let's just put that back in. Now this can get a bit finicky, but that should just slot right in. Perfect. That just slots right in. That went in perfectly fine. So usually you want to be replacing the adhesive on the battery, but because this is quite strong and it's not going to fall off, this should be more than fine. And there are no stickers on the back either, so we don't need to replace that. So that can just drop in right there. That's in there perfectly fine, and that isn't going to move at all once everything's all back inside the phone. Now let's start putting things back in. Let's start with this. Make sure everything's out of the way first. That just drops straight in. Perfect. And that just fell out. I can sort that out. Next, you want to get your optical fingerprint sensor and make sure you don't touch it too much, because obviously you don't want to get dust on this. And in fact, I'm just gonna literally wipe that real quick. You don't need anything specific for that kind of stuff. Literally just drop that thing in there and plug it in. There you are. That was a nice click. Now you want to get your 2 screws and screw that back in. There we are, perfect. There we are, perfect. So yeah, that fully drops in perfectly fine. Let's connect this display back up, and I want to be very careful with this flex cable as well, because this is a replacement display. Perfect. And when I say replacement display, I don't mean like a shit quality one, just so you know. So this you'll need tweezers for. Perfect. And I'm just going to be using one of these just to push that cable. Nope, that's busted. Here we are, the other one. Just to push that cable in there. Just run that along, and that is fully in there now. That's not going anywhere. Perfect. So now that you've got your dot connector plugged in, now time to put the motherboard back in. This is really easy, guys. So just drop that in there. Obviously make sure this connector is out of the way. Perfect. That's in there now, and let's just screw the screw back in. There's only one black screw that holds in the motherboard. There we are. Perfect. So that's now screwed in. And you want to get your tweezer, and you just want to align that and connect it down. Take your front facing camera if it got disconnected, and if there's any dust on it, just give it a wipe, which I am going to do. There's no dust in there. I'm just going to double check as well. Nope, there's no dust, so that's fine. Just drop that in there. Plug that in. Perfect. Now you want to plug in this cable right here. So first off, you want to plug this side in. Perfect. And then you want to plug in the main side. Boom. And that's our phone made right there. So all you gotta do is just plug in the battery. Come on, mate, go on. Come on, mate, hold on. There we go, perfect. And that's our phone there. Now, although we can try and turn it on, I don't want to be risking, you know, using tweezers and poking pins around. So we're just gonna plug this back in, and it's literally a 5-second thing to take it off anyway. It doesn't hurt. So let's just put this back on, even if it's loosely. You know, just to mainly just to get this side connected, just so we can test out the thing and get buttons working. So let's just do that. Yay! Yay! Look at our phone. That's fixed. So I'm just gonna push that back in. There we are. Perfect. Snapped up. Perfect. So that is amazing right there. Oh, never mind, just turned on, and that looks awesome. I'm not gonna lie to you, that looks amazing. There we are. Yay! Oh, that screen looks amazing. It looks literally just how I know it is. It looks vibrant, it looks clean. Let me just turn on the brightness just so you guys can see it a bit. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that looks awesome. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test this. I'm gonna go in the dialer right here, and as you can see, the screen just lit up. Let's go to red. Red looks fine. Green is where most of the, if there is any burning, will show up. And tilting the phone around, there's no burning. Blue looks perfect. Receiver's fine. Yeah, you can hear that. Vibration's fine. Mega cam, so that's the back cameras. Yep, that's looking awesome right there. Yep, that's looking awesome. And that's looking clean as well. Grip sensor, we don't need to test. The sensor is something we need to test. So if we cover that, that works fine. Touch is what we want to mess around and test with. Shut up, Vodafone. So let's just do all of that. And I want to definitely test up here, where people kind of overlook. So that's looking perfectly fine there, and that's working all there. So as I did that before, my camera cut off because it hates me. If I just go all the way like that, I know it's gone dark on the video, but that's fine. I don't tend to just do the X and the square around. I literally scribble on the entire screen just so I know there's no chance of dead parts of the display where it doesn't respond to touch. So literally, as you can see, every part of the phone or every part of the screen is working. I'm literally getting the edges as well, so I know there's no chance of missing it. Literally, when it comes to stuff like this, I take 0 chances. So as you can see, that's fine. That's all good to go, as you can see there. And you know, this is all fully working fine. Yeah, that's fine, perfect. Just get that bit. So this phone is complete. Come on, there we go. Yeah, it takes a bit, but that's perfectly fine. And now all we gotta do is literally clean up the back. There's just a tiny bit of residue around the place. Put this thing on, and that's it. So let's get that done. So first off, we need IPA. If you haven't done this already, and I'm pretty sure you haven't, when you take off the back, obviously there's still going to be adhesive. You want to peel that off. It's a bit tedious, but what I find is if you let's say peel it up and then you start spinning it like this, it tends to come off a lot easier than just ripping it straight off. Some adhesive, like this phone, it's got thick adhesive, so you can literally just yank that shit off. But there's things like the iPhone, and there's things like this where the thin parts right here, you have to kind of go with a little screwdriver or a little tweezers, or maybe these things, just to kind of pick and twist it off in a nice easy way. So let me just get my IPA real quick. And I've got myself like a little cotton bud. This I've already used this for a small thing, but that's perfectly fine. All we're doing is just putting some IPA on the bit that's got some adhesive on it. And if you don't have IPA, don't use water or anything like that. That's very stupid of you if you want to do that. Just try to pick it off as neatly as you can. But yeah, it should at the end of the day come off. Now this stuff, I think it should come off fine. I'm having to kind of pick it off, but yeah, that works perfectly fine. Make sure you do a really good job of cleaning this off as well, because this residue is annoying. And you may think, okay, cool, it's just a tiny bit of adhesive residue left, but this shit sticks. Like, it stays on there. And if you put your new replacement adhesive on and you haven't taken this old adhesive off, you've literally just wasted that adhesive. And believe me, I've done that myself, so I'm talking from experience from this point. I'm just gonna hit up the corner of all sides. Be very careful around that bit as well, by the way. So just go around all the corners. I know it looks like I'm going a bit rough, but it's not rough at all. It looks a bit rough, but it's not, believe me. The last thing I want to do is just kind of hit up the cameras a bit. The reason why is because sometimes when you place this on anywhere, dust can get onto it, and IPA just removes any fingerprints as well, because the last thing you need is fingerprints on your camera, and you close everything up. Once again, I'm talking from experience. And then the last thing I'm going to do is clean up this as well. So remove all the adhesive. There we are. You can see bits where the residue has stayed on there and stuff. So get some IPA and clean that off. And luckily these things are a little bit bendy, so if you want to put some force into, not too much of course, you can do, but just fully clean that. Alright, so I had to do this off camera and it went perfectly. Now I wish I did it on camera, because I got it first time, first try, and this is the first time I've ever put on adhesive like this, because normally what it is anytime I've put an adhesive before, it's always on like a screen, and it's easy to apply on a screen because obviously the bezels kind of stop it, so you know exactly where to line it up. This thing, however, you have to fully line it up. So what I did was I bent the thing, this little back sheet, I basically did it like that while this was on here, and I lined it first, so I know that if I screw up I can easily just like take it off. I haven't put on the whole thing. Then when I lined that, I just slowly moved my way down, and that went perfect. And then what I did was I just used this and then just flattened it down, so that's perfectly on there now. Hurry up and bloody focus so I can finish the video. And now all we gotta do is just finish this phone off. So let's just screw this, let's just screw these screws back in. Come on mate, there we are. And you don't have to do it in a specific order, just start screwing wherever. And that is basically our phone, and I can't wait to give this back and to see the look on their face. They're gonna be so happy. And you know who you are if you're watching and seeing this video. All I just want to say is thank you for giving me the opportunity to even work on your phone and get a nice video out of it. And I'm just trying to do this as fast as possible before my stupid Samsung phone gives me a stupid warning about, oh, phone's overheating. please let it cool down before you can start using it again. That's happened like 5 times and that pisses me off so much. Anyways, just basically one more screw, no, not this one, to go. So let's just put this one in there, and finally let's put that one in there. Come on mate, get in there. There we are, perfect. And now for the last time, I'm literally just going to give the camera a bit of a wipe, just so I know there's no fingerprints. And what I've also done here is what I did was I put my finger behind it to see if there's any fingerprints, which there was, and then I used a little cotton swab that's new, and then I just did this. I'm spinning it in my hand while I'm going like this, so I know that if I just go like that and there's lint, I can spin it and it'll come straight up as well. So I just went like that on each of the holes, and that kind of cleaned it up perfectly, so there's no fingerprints. So now we can put this thing back together. So let's just start taking off the adhesive, the plastic. Now I'm a bit scared, I can't lie. Okay, so I know that I should have stuck that down a bit more. There we are. That's kind of satisfying, I can't lie. Okay, I know not to pull too much. That's gonna come off. There we are. Come on mate. There we are, perfect. That's got no adhesive. And now we can just join this back together. Focus. There we are. And now there we are, perfect. So that is now adhered on. Yay! Perfect. So now ideally what you want to do is put something on it that's not too heavy. Put something on like, just put just a tiny bit of weight on it, just so the adhesive sticks. And that is perfect right there. So if I unlock that, come on mate, okay, whatever. Yep, that is fully working fine. And that, guys, is how to repair your Samsung Galaxy A51 display. Thank you very much everyone for watching. I hope you liked this video. This was a fantastic repair, I loved it, and it was a successful one that turned out amazing. I'm so happy with how this turned out. This turned out amazing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope, once again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Will it work? Yes, okay. And I will see you again in the next lightning quick video.